potentially very dangerous.
AI will replace jobs.
Especially when we talk about
Artificial intelligence and lots of jobs will be affected as the mental health affected. That is, I think, a big challenge. It's a shortage in our country of general physical skilled labor.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to AI Basics, the podcast where we try to understand what this whole AI wave really means for us, our careers, our kids, and the future. This episode is for all of you. Whether you're in the 12th grade and wondering what to study, or you're a parent like me, trying to help your kids prepare for an uncertain but exciting future. Joining me today is someone incredibly special and a great friend, Alok Ramsisaria. He's a visionary CEO with over 25 years of experience in marketing, technology, and consulting. And get this, he was a child prodigy. He ranked 20th in the IIT JEE exam in 1985. 20. Wow, that's almost mythical. He did his BTech in Comp Sci from IIT Delhi and then a master's from UNC Chapel Hill. Today, he runs a global company with over 1,000, yes, I repeat, over 1,000 employees across India, US, Canada, Australia, and Singapore. So today, we're really talking to someone who has a global view and who's also right now thinking about what's next for his company in the age of AI. And I know what you all are thinking. Who is he hiring and what kind of skills is he looking for? All right, Alok. First of all, welcome to AI Basics. चलो शुरू करते हैं. पहले से मैं बताना चाह रही हूँ कि I am also learning. I've just been deeply curious about what's happening, and I think most of us are. So, none of us have patience anymore. So, सबसे जरूरी जो सवाल है मैं पहले ही पूछ लेती हूँ. और जो सब पूछ रहे हैं, will I have a job in the future? That's what every student, every parent, everybody is wondering. So, and I'm also wondering, will my kids have a job or will robots do everything?
I think the answer to that is kind of complex. The complex is that if you have learned how to learn, then AI is a tool that you should learn how to use. But if you haven't learned how to learn, then it's a brave new world and lots of jobs will be affected as we know them. Right?
So what are these jobs that will be affected? Because I think that's what people are wondering. We are looking at, I do a lot of podcasting. अब आधे से ज़्यादा script तो मतलब ChatGPT लिख देता है. Will we need script writers anymore? Marketing, your company is into marketing. A lot of the ads, even I was reading that Facebook and Instagram, they're going to automate the whole ad process. So what kind of jobs will actually be disappearing?
No, so you will still need people who will orchestrate. So let's think about podcasts, right? Do you want to hear a podcast which is technically perfect, run by a video avatar, or you want to hear somebody's honest opinion? Okay, and it might blur at some point in time, but if you are a person, most people crave human contact, and I think at least in the immediate term, when I say immediate, it could mean in the next 5 years. I don't expect that the most creative jobs or lots of new things will stop getting created by people. When we started doing a lot of computer science was all about doing things faster, better, and cheaper. And typically you would pick two of the three. With AI, it's faster, some things are better, but it's definitely not cheaper right now. It will get cheaper. Right, I mean, you look at all these big companies like ChatGPT burns almost 3 to 4 times what they earn in their and most of it is data center. AI is at that level is still fairly expensive. It will get cheaper as we get to a particular point. But for example, we suddenly have a new role, right? We have a role A of somebody called the prompt engineer, which we never had. What it does is it puts more power in the hand of somebody who knows English. If I can now program in English and hopefully in the next year or so program in any language of my choice, right, with all the other LLMs that are being created in different languages. So that handicap goes away for a lot of people. The day before yesterday, I think we were playing with some tool. It allows you to build a complete Airbnb clone in like less than 10 minutes. The basics. Now, when you start doing, okay, I want to add this feature, you have to learn how to use that tool as well. But obviously the speed is compressed. Now Airbnb is something that already existed, so the LLM has probably digested what it looks like. So if you say Airbnb, it knows what to build. But if you have to build something completely new which doesn't exist, you still need the human to do that, right? If you want to, obviously cloning and copying will get way, way cheaper. Anything that involves human touch, for example, healthcare, counseling. We are right now in the beginning of probably the biggest mental health crisis in the world. Like some people have gone as far as to say that in the next 2 years we will have a mental health epidemic.
Yes, we already.
Partly driven from. Yes, I don't know of any child today who has not had challenges, right? Whether in school or in college, and a lot of time they are seeking professional help because it's no longer taboo. So you need a lot of people who are able to listen and able to counsel. We have a huge shortage, at least in our country, of doctors. Even if you get very smart diagnosis, who will own the liability of prescription? It's still going to be the doctor, right? You're providing him lots of aids. You still need a nurse to do a lot of the basics of somebody who's in hospital. Some professions will continue to need high touch. A lot of physical professions will actually become in demand. Right now, there's actually a huge shortage in our country of general physical skilled labor. Plumbers, electricians, HVAC consultants, and all kinds of people. So the physical trades, I think, will flourish because everybody will get used to a slightly better quality of life. So you need a whole bunch more of tradesmen to help you live better lives. You can't just hire a robot to fix your electrical connection, right?
But what about the thinking jobs? What has happened is we've glamorized being a software engineer. We've glamorized, if you look at it, your aspiration hai. People don't want to be a Swiggy delivery person. People want to carry their laptop bag and go and sit behind a desk. People don't want to be a plumber. People don't want to be a carpenter. People want to feel that these thinking jobs jo humne us pe itna bada value place kiya, where will they be?
And that is, I think, a big challenge. It's a fairly big challenge. Right now, I'm told that every year the Indian IT industry would absorb about a couple of lakh people. I'm not sure if it's in the 1 lakh domain also for this year. The slack has been picked up to some degree by the global capability centers, which means the Indian offices of large companies. So the middle class dream, which was built around IT, I think will definitely suffer a reality check. However, I think there are many more things. May not be as large on scale as IT has been for the last 2 decades, but there will be new opportunities that emerge.
But Alok, you mentioned one skill that is becoming very important, this prompt engineering, जो हम लोग सब सीख रहे हैं, जाके के how to talk to ChatGPT, how to talk to all these LLMs or these language models. But what other jobs are becoming kind of the ones that you are looking at? You have 1,000 people working for you. So when you say, I want to upskill, what are you upskilling? When you are saying, listen, I want to add new talent, what are the type of skills you're looking for then?
So it's interesting. We have almost 15 people now in our training division. So we run a full-scale learning and development division, which has all kinds of training. And we hire all kinds of trainers. We are also offering those to local colleges. So a bunch of colleges outsource their training for specific skill sets, including AI, to us on one side. And we are investing even right now. It's not as if the world has changed or completely. I still need regular software engineers. I need designers. I need content writers. So we are still hiring those people. We need good people. It's not that they've replaced at this point in time. They've increased efficiency, definitely in some areas. And there will be a more stronger impact. Some teams are reporting about 30% increased productivity. So you have to keep balancing and saying, okay, how many people do you need? And services business like ours will always have to keep a focus on costs, which means that we have to keep adding new people so that people, as they become very expensive at the top, they can find other jobs and we can add people at the bottom. So there is a natural cycle to all the IT industry, which is part of the reason that contributed to the IT industry becoming the middle class citizen growth out of poverty, if you will, right? And we are hiring data scientists, we are hiring data ethicists now. We are training people to be able to reason given the cost of computing, especially AI computing. We are looking to hire and train people on how to create optimal outputs. For example, if ChatGPT, the highest model, costs me $1 a minute, and I have a cheaper model which is either free or few cents a minute, how can I leverage the cheaper model to get me results which are of the quality of the higher model? A new skill set called AI Ops that is emerging, and this is about optimizing costs in leveraging AI.
If we bring this now to a 17, 18-year-old who says, मेरे को AI में काम करना है, मैं क्या जाके पढूं फिर? Should I still go and say I want to have a comp sci degree? Should I focus on that? Or are all these online tools good enough and let me just do any degree?
I think okay, so while AI will take away a lot of the grunt work, definitely a lot of the routine coding work is automatable today. Today I can go in and write. I mean, Google has already said that 30% of the code is being written by AI. Okay. So the question is that 70% is still being written by people, and people are still designing those systems. So assuming that ratio inverts in 3 years, 30% of the code is written by humans, 70% by AI, you still need people driving, right? You can't afford to let AI be driving the outcome process easily. There are systems that are coming into place which are smarter, which do automatic testing and validation. But it's going to be a little bit of time. So if you ask me, I would still say look for a broad degree, which is and goes back to what the Western liberal education model is, where you do acquire some depth in technical skills, but be exposed to how to be creative, learn how to be a storyteller. Those skills are hard to replace. I mean, if everybody's writing the same stories that have already been written, then how will you get heard in vast cacophony of noises, that are emerging every day? Right? Look at the number of influencers on YouTube as an example. Right? There are still new ones getting traction and building their. So it's not that opportunity will cease to exist, but the most creative guys, or the most creative girls, and the most technically savvy ones are the ones who will do better. So look for broad education, look for an education which is giving you depth. And there are certain areas that will continue to be very deeply technical. I don't think we can get away from those.
So tell us some of
Um,
those areas. We'd love to know that which ones are
so,
going to be the
for
ones that we
example,
still.
medical electronics, it'll
Mhm.
be very hard for us to replace, everything. Even the best current surgical robots are amplifying the doctor's skill, right? The Da Vinci robot, the doctor, puts his hands inside a device, and the Da Vinci robot is now doing it on his behalf. But if he moves an inch, the robot can move a millimeter, something like that, so that you can do things at micro scale, as an example, right? So there will be always a lot of these niche skills. Not everybody can become a surgeon, right? What we are talking about is the large masses of people. So for large masses of people to stay relevant, I would say definitely pick up in the immediate term, 17, 18-year-olds, software degrees are useful, are continuing to be useful. But please pick up broader skills. Because if somebody with a strong command over language can generate code, then your usefulness, especially, and which is why you are seeing this big challenge with entry level jobs, not just here but all over the world, especially in the US, right? Just drying up because they would much rather pay $20 a month to a co-pilot or something else to help the senior developer write code. You don't need 5 developers below you. You can probably make do with 2, and I'll give you a subscription to Copilot or Lovable or Replit or the plethora of tools out there. But now I think ChatGPT also at this point, and Cloud, they're all going to come out with code writing capability, which is going to be sort of good enough, right? So if you're asking me, okay, what are the skill sets? I personally think that there really a huge new set of skill sets that has happened over time immemorial whenever there is a huge technology. Some of those we know, things like AI prompt engineering, right? Something you is simple to learn. I think 8 to 10 hours of playing with Chat GPT and you'll become a prompt expert to some degree. But understanding what Chat GPT does so that you can get better prompts out of it, right? That requires more work. And that's something you build up over a period of time.
All of these free courses that are coming up, are they good enough?
They're fairly decent. In the end, it is how much time you spend coding, and so you may need some help in some kind of assistance for doubt clearing. So you have to see where you can get better doubt clearing capabilities, right? If you can get this is again me, I'm at the end of the career, so I still prefer talking to a person to get my doubts cleared. But if you're comfortable asking ChatGPT to clear your doubts or asking the bot to clear your doubts, and lots of times they're good enough, right? Uh, but the bigger problem we've seen is motivation. How many people will get past and complete the course? You'll start the course. It's like, a gym subscription. So until there is a strong motivation, which is what, I personally feel that a paid course will do you more good because it will force you to do things and will force you to complete things wherever you take it from, right? And if it is proctored or if it is guided, then you will ask for more and you will get more. Again, because there is some human touch in there. When we're still not, if we were very, self-driven people, they will get the most out of the pure online courses. They don't even need to go for the paid courses. So there's something like a continuum about what you're good at and what kind of motivations you have. And for the vast majority, I'd say take a paid course with some instructor component where the instructor is available to at least clear doubts so that you don't get stuck at wherever, right? Okay, you reach a certain point and you get stuck at. So those are, I mean, all the big colleges today are offering large degree courses. I'm not a big fan for them. For mid-level career guys, yes. I think I keep seeing ads from the IITs and BITS Pilani and all of these places. A 6 month, 8 month, 1 year courses. So for mid career people, yes, those kind of things make sense. For fresh kids out of school, those guys are pretty savvy on their own. And sometimes what kids have been able to do just blows your mind away. So and they do much better. So
Now,
it's better
Alok,
to work on their motivation.
yeah, no, but Alok, this question now, because आप तो देखते हैं लोगों को US में, India में, Australia, Canada, Singapore, you have offices everywhere. Is there a skill gap now in India versus the rest of the countries, or are we up to date? Because people are also wondering कि if I want a career in this, मैं इंडिया में बैठ के कर सकता हूँ, or do I have to go abroad?
See, from a technology perspective, we are there. There's no difference. From an opportunity perspective, we probably have a better placement rate than at least the US. The US is really bad. All these people whose kids are now abroad doing undergraduate degrees have a huge challenge finding jobs if they're not US citizens or they're not um, green card holders. So there is going to be, and that's only going to get worse in the current US, administration. Um, the rest of the world, I mean, the US is typically the technology driver of the world. I don't expect Indian tech guys to find jobs in China, for example, which is also a very big hotspot, right? Yeah, some might in Hong Kong, which is sort of like a hard fit, or Singapore or Middle East. The Middle East is actually spending a lot of money. But in terms of getting an education, nothing beats an Indian education from a cost value perspective. Um, Getting a job, I think there will be challenges. There are bigger challenges overseas. Those have to do with their economy and their politics, not necessarily the opportunities on the job front. I mean, I think this is the first year where there have been one third the number of H1 applicants
No.
in the US from India, right? So everybody is being wary in hiring people in the US. At least that geography we understand very well. In terms of other geographies, Australia is doing decently well, actually. Australia, there's some change in mindset. So people are adapting. Canada is very dependent on the US. So actually, very hard to find good jobs in Canada. Again, uh, this is just a very broad statement. We have a lot of our ex-employees who moved to Canada. All of them are gainfully employed. So, they have found jobs. I just said sitting from here, if you're a fresher, I do have friends whose kids are looking for jobs and they're struggling because they are in Canada and they need to find a job sooner. Just because the great dream, right, to get a US degree or a Canadian degree, work there, settle there, pay off the degree. It's a good investment. So right now, I think it's not a great investment. Parents should be very wary. I've seen lots of people now going to the UK. I'm personally not familiar with that market. I suspect, given that there is also, how should I put it? Uh, in those societies, there are fewer people getting into STEM,
Okay.
okay, in science, technology, space, and math. So there should be a deficit of people available. But there are fewer people getting into STEM because they see all these Indian Chinese kids, that they have to fight with to succeed. Okay, that's one part of it. And I think a lot of people find, for example, you'll find a lot of interest in healthcare and medicine in the US. Because again, for the same thinking that, yeah, those jobs might be more secure than STEM jobs.
Now, what if I don't come from a tech background? I was in commerce or humanities, but of course, everybody is caught up in this AI wave. Is it possible for me to switch or nahi? Matlab, if I don't have the degree, it'll be very difficult for me to get a job.
I think that has changed. It's basically your portfolio of projects you've done. Okay. So if you've done something creative in AI and you have something to show for it, then companies will hire you because there is, again, right now, there's a big deficit of AI talent. Okay. So there is not, I mean, how many AI degree graduates can you find?
I don't
And
even know if they're even graduated. Abhi.
there are now BTech degrees in AI that
Mm.
our colleges run. But think about it. There's an overall shortage of people who understand AI well enough. There's an overall shortage of teachers, a much bigger shortage of teachers who understand AI well enough. So how will you find? So there is going to be demand. Number one. Number two is that, like you said, AI sort of evens out the field, right? Playing field. People with creative skills, people with good communication skills, people with good visualization skills can succeed in a lot of areas. Um, and this was true earlier also. Let me, one of my best front end engineers is a BCom. There's nothing to do with, but he was interested in tech. He learned, HTML, CSS, JavaScript coding, and today he's one of the best guys in the company. Whenever we have a difficult project, he will come on and he will, throw, basically hit it out of the park, if you will. So those, it's just about your passion. It doesn't have pedigree is great to get started, but today you can leverage. I know one company which actually looks at your GitHub repository. Okay, what are the kind of projects you've done? And that's their determinant. Uh, that has been true for some time. But for example, if you want to go higher, see, I want to go work for a large quant trading company, they can hire people with pedigree, right? So if your aspiration is that I want to become somebody who's going to write algorithms for, D. Shaw or Goldman Sachs, then you need that degree, right? You don't, you can't just go in from the outside unless you have a very successful trading career yourself. But for the rest of people, I think it's not that difficult to find a job. But your portfolio of work has to be really good.
That's good to know because that people and students should start building their portfolio of work actually as early as
Yes,
possible.
as
Because
early as
that's
possible.
something that people are looking for. Now, Alok, coming back to your company, now it's known for its marketing expertise, and we've thought about marketing as being this creative field. So I have to ask
Mhm.
this question, how much is it being impacted by AI, especially when we talk about Mid-Journey, ChatGPT, these video creations that's happening, or do you see it as a field that's going to evolve with AI?
I see it purely as an evolution right now, primarily because, for example, in a lot of our large tech customers, while they have started playing with AI, they don't trust AI.
Okay.
Okay. So large customers will not be able to trust right now unless there is, yeah, but they're definitely allowing people to play with it, right? Okay. You'll have an enterprise chat GPT account or you get it through your Microsoft partnership. Um, and some B2B use cases, companies are fine, but you will not trust deterministic actions to be taken by AI. For example, if you have a supply chain application, you will not trust, okay, Gen AI will decide how to route your package. It'll still be a guy deciding, right? Gen AI will aid him in figuring out what to do. At least this is the stage in a lot of the companies. So for us as well, we are pushing AI in as an operational efficiency aid for everybody. We're pushing AI literacy for everybody. We are hiring for AI ops, AI data scientists, data engineers. The large part of AI is also about getting the right data into your AI, right?
Yeah.
So we need data engineers who can source the data from multiple sources, clean it up, label it correctly, and then send it to your AI. And then there are a lot of AI ML engineers who can write, there's something that you do with AI, not with Gen AI, right? And you have to look at the distinction because Gen AI tools are basically, or large language models are exactly that. They're very good at linguistic capabilities. They're not as good at math. There are some specialized ones that are coming out, but they're not as good at math. And because they're good at linguistic, they appear to be good at logic.
They kind
Okay.
of floor you when you put in the question because they give you such a
Right. Because
nice, detailed answer.
right. So they're very good at the explain. I mean, the hallucination is also like that, right? It's
Yes.
very nicely detailed, but could be completely wrong. Because they don't have a value system or they don't have the checks and balances to some degree. And you could argue that they sound like just as some of our politicians, right? They don't have any checks and balances.
I
So
would say
coming back
not
to
some
your
of our
question,
politicians, maybe all of them around the world these days. But coming back to, okay,
so,
from the tech and hard skills, but do you focus a lot more on softer skills now?
so for the last few years, I think we have placed equal emphasis on tech skills and communication capability. And that same communication capability, both written and spoken, will stand you in good stead with AI, right? So if you're a good communicator, you'll do better with AI than if you're a pure, tech code jockey. In general, and you'll obviously be a better human being because you'll be able to interact with people and get more done. So I think for us, communication and uh, team skills are becoming really important more and more. Um, because, like I said, the tech skills are being underemphasized to some degree, right? Especially in services kind of businesses. On the marketing front, we do look for, again, you need to have some depth of understanding. Otherwise, let's say I want to write an article about what's new in, let's say, one of the tools that we are, offering services in, or in, let's say, simple things like search engine optimization, right? So I need to know that field, right? I can't just ask ChatGPT to write me an article on, AI engine optimization, AI, AEO, that's the new term. Okay. If you don't understand what it'll write, it'll give you garbage. For you to understand, you need to know. For you to know, you need to be experienced. And if for you to be experienced, you need to get that experience. And that is where freshers are getting caught in a little bit of a pincer cinch because to be able to use, especially on the marketing side, and marketing of tech services. I'm not talking about marketing in
Yes.
general. Marketing in general, I think, does very well because those kids understand human emotions, they understand storytelling, and they're able to, give the seed of an idea and get it built out. They don't have to rely on a copywriter, on a designer. They can do it themselves using like the tools that you mentioned. We are selling to tech services companies, so we need technical accuracy, accuracy. So we need, unfortunately or fortunately, deeper tech skills within our marketing teams. So we are automating, but not replacing.
Very
So we
nice.
are focused on improving efficiency, and I think that would be the case for most companies. That they'll try and for us to, replace something. Um, and India has different unit cost economics than the world, right? In the US, a dispensing machine is cheaper to operate. In India, it might be simpler to just put an operator, right? And so, forth.
But that's going to,
operate
I
with
think that
chaos.
balance is going to change because labor costs are also going up here.
Well, labor costs are going up in the cities.
Mm.
I think it's a matter for another discussion. I was talking to somebody this morning. So they run a school, it is an aided school in rural Punjab, and salaries for those teachers are pretty pathetic.
Yeah, yeah.
So there is some amount of, but that's a different conversation. I think,
No, but understood. I mean, definitely you're right, and it's good to know because it finally also it boils down to the economics, right? And that's what a
yes.
lot of people are not talking about. And it's great that you're bringing light to it, that we think $1 a minute is okay. But when you actually start thinking about it, when you're doing it at a large scale, it might not be the most cost-effective solution. So
Hmm. Yeah.
now,
There is, I
Alok,
mean, more consideration. Sorry, go ahead.
no, 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 go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was saying that, sometimes you don't need real time.
Yeah,
You don't need the instant answer. You can
yes.
wait for a weekend, right? So we wait for the weekend. It's like, energy pricing. In the US or in the UK especially, you pay for energy depending on the demand at that time. So some things you can do at the night, right, and get the answer in the morning. It doesn't need to be, I need instant gratification. So there's things like that that people need to worry about on the economics of every AI based tool.
Now, Alok, before we end, let's do a fun rapid fire, very quick
Oh
round,
man,
one word, two-word answers, what comes first to your mind. So, one skill every student, I would say not even every student, every person should learn in 2025.
learn how to learn.
Okay.
Never give the ability to be plastic. Don't be stuck.
Now, AI, is it a friend, a foe, or a tool?
It's a tool, but a very powerful one.
First thing you'd relearn if you were in 12th grade again.
I wouldn't change a thing. I'm very happy. I know I learned math and science and the physical, the hard sciences, geology. All of those were useful. Um, I wouldn't change a thing. Just go deeper because you'll get enough time to learn everything else as well.
A book or a podcast that you think that a curious teenager or person should read or listen to.
I think you have to have an open mind. I listen to Peter Bregman podcast on and off. I like him, but he might be too old for the young ones. I've found in India Nitin Kamat's podcast to be very detailed oriented, very different from the rest. But there's a whole variety of them. In fact, the challenge is that there's too many of them. So you'll have to, sort of taste and decide, which area you want to get pitched. In terms of books, I have been a voracious reader in the past. I think the first one I would recommend is Dale Carnegie's How to Make Friends and Influence People.
Nice.
The next one would be the Seven Habits. I think
Nice.
those two
Effective
are
thinking.
very
Yeah.
important.
Now, one myth about AI that you wish that all of us would stop believing.
That AI will replace all jobs. It will change most jobs. It will not eliminate all jobs. It will create a lot many, like any other. Think about calculators. Think about computers. Think about the press, the Gutenberg press. Everybody thought that there's no need for learning anymore because you can print, right? But books are not knowledge.
Marketing or coding, which one is harder? Or which one will become harder?
I think marketing, coding is going to get simpler
Do you think,
because you have to understand human emotions. You have to deal with people and understand what makes them move. So first thing you have to be in touch with yourself, right? And
yeah.
very few of us are.
Do you think the IIT ranks still matter in the age of AI? Being a topper yourself.
I don't know ना किस तरह कुल की बड़ाई काम दे जो किसी में हो बड़प्पन की कसर. So I think there is so much competition. We need to have, honestly, I think it's becoming a very, 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 it's still probably the fairest system to evaluate. But the fact is that we should have, 10 times as many good colleges as the IITs offer, both in the public and the private sector, because we have such a huge pool of talent, just the sheer volume of talent we have, right? So, given the scarcity of um, good, colleges, uh, honestly, there's really any different. Leave aside two, three kids every year who are in the genius category, maybe five kids, maybe with the current, there may be 10 kids might be so-called genius category. And there's really no difference between the first 500 kids. It depends on how well you did on that exam on that day, right? I know from when I wrote the exam, there was one kid who had rank of 300. He was always better than me in physics. Right? It just happened that that day the physics paper was something I knew better than anybody else. So there are things like that you will find. Um, you know that it's still so much luck that plays a role, right? So why do? But I'm not saying that there is not a set of kids who are purely in the genius category. These are the kids who would walk in without preparation and because just they intuitively understood stuff,
Yeah.
right? But I don't. I think we don't care too much about degrees or pedigree, at least in. However, what happens is that most hiring places, it's easier to rely on pedigree to hire than to really evaluate people. It's so much easier. Okay, IIT, this category, great. I don't think the rank matters at that stage. NIT, great, right? Local college, So there is that, there are smart kids everywhere. Just like I'm saying, the first 500 kids would probably be very similar, very little to choose from. But it could be applying to the first 2,000 kids as well. They're all very smart kids, very hardworking. They would have not have made it otherwise. So I don't see it's a minor percentage point, right?
Yeah.
How does that make a
Very,
difference in how
very,
you
very
achieve it,
small.
right?
Now, Alok,
So it doesn't really matter.
in this age of AI now, what's more important, to be more intelligent or to be more curious?
I think it's always to be more open and curious, right? Intelligence is also a skill that you acquire. But if you're not open or curious, then you're dead. I mean, then it depends on how you define intelligence, right? If being intelligent means that you're always curious, okay, you're open to the idea that you don't know everything, then great. Intelligence is what matters. But curiosity is that skill and the ability to accept that, okay, you don't know stuff. So maybe there's something or someone or something else that you can do to get better. If you start believing in your own infallibility, then you're making a god mistake, right? So
Before we let you go, one last question. If one piece of advice you could give to a 17-year-old who's nervous about the future, what would you say to them?
I would say that, do your best and don't worry. There is enough opportunity out there, right? As long as you're ready to stumble, fall, pick yourself up, try out the next one, right? There is, you look at the world around you, right? The biggest role models are high school, college dropouts, right? Steve Jobs, um, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, think about those. All of these guys are dropouts. And on the other hand, you have great people who are really great men of letters, who are all qualified. Yeah, there's enough opportunity if you're ready to work hard. Okay, and you have to be able to learn that there's. Yeah, I have a saying which I have a set of things that I put out there for people that every patch of green has a four-leaf clover. So you have to believe that you will have luck on your side. You just have to keep trying. And this is a thing that people need to understand, especially when it comes, for example, to relationships. Okay, this is the only person in the world for me. अरे नहीं भाई और भी हैं. Right? This is the only college I want to get into. अरे नहीं भाई और भी हैं. And this is the only place I want to live. नहीं भाई और भी हैं. There's enough that you can find. Life is joyful enough to give you joy. So don't despair when what feels like the most important thing in your life doesn't happen. I think that resilience is what I hope every teenager who's especially graduating to adulthood adopts right in the first stage of their life. Every one of us has gone through our own set of failures, where we didn't get what we wanted to do and what we worked very hard for. So there are other doors that open up, right? As long as you keep enjoying the process of working. I'm sorry for sounding philosophical, but if you look at the scriptures, you look at all the success literature, right? In the end, work towards a goal, own it, but only so much, right? And something else will, if something doesn't work, then something else will work. it doesn't mean that one door closing doesn't mean that all doors in the world have closed. So that resilience is, I think, key that you need to develop at your age. You have the power of youth in your hand. I mean, you think about it. We trust youth to change the world. We don't trust, statesmen to change the world.
Thank you so much, Alok. This has been such an enlightening and rich conversation. And you've shared not only your perspective as CEO, but somebody who deeply understands the intersection of technology, business, and also has such a huge team working for them. So thank you once again and for being with us on AI Basics.
Thank you so much for having me here. I hope some people find something useful. But feel free to, send any other questions or any other advice my way.